Time for some Artisan Toy Maker updates. Well, it's been a biscuit minute since we talked about Artisan Star Wars figures, and I just received a few from the Next 17. I received his new duo of figures. I'm still trying to get around to getting some of those others before they sell out, but I gotta be patient with myself. You gotta measure this out. You can't go all in at once, otherwise, you lose all your chips. So I picked up the latest ones, which are a nice spread, really. One is a Cantina alien, which, I've joked about how the Cantina just is something that nobody can let go of with these artisan figures. But there are a lot of beasts and creatures and aliens and personalities in that setting, so I get why it's a gold mine for creating unproduced figures. In this case, I'm really glad to report that he tackled one of the literally larger characters in the line, which is something a lot of people end up not doing because they have to do a one-use mold. And in this case, he did the Mufttac, or Mufttac. Now, that's the sort of big, white, fuzzy alien sitting in the corner table at one point in the film. Now, it's a great-looking figure. He's totally matched the pattern of the Kenner First sculpting that you would see on, say, Chewbacca or another figure from back then. It really looks like a Kenner sculpt. What's odd is, and I guess this has to do with appealing to both old school collectors and new collectors to give it versatility. It's not really a problem with the figure itself, and it's not really a problem, it's just more of a thing to note if you're a neo Star Wars fan, is he's gone in and made sure that Mufttac can also reflect a different Tal's alien, who is apparently a Jedi. So he's given him a big oversized clip-in Kenner lightsaber as well as his traditional Kenner blaster, or Kenner-style blaster. And this isn't a problem, obviously, because you can just not have the lightsaber with him and he's Mos Eisley Cantina Mufttac. But just to give you that bit of info, he is able to double as both characters. So if you know who that other character is, he can be that guy. But for me, he's Mufttac from the Mos Eisley Cantina. And yeah, right now I'm showing you a picture from right inside the display case because I am not getting this Mos Eisley Cantina playset out again ever for a video, because look how many characters are in it now thanks to these wonderful artisan figure makers. But it also means that it would take me an hour to get this thing out just to set up a shot that you're already seeing in this photograph. So enjoy the photo. And now we're moving on to a great troop builder character for those of you that love the Rebel Alliance in the original trilogy, and that is one of the Yavin Hangar crewmen. This is one of the guys in the khaki jumpsuits that would drive those little speeder trams around to shuttle people, those people mover things between the X-Wings and Y-Wings. So this is that guy, and he comes with sort of a beige version of the blue storage box from the Death Star, which is a nice touch. He also comes with a Rebel blaster, and he's got great tampoing on his shoulder of the Rebel Alliance insignia. The Rebel blaster looks a lot like the one that came with the Stan Solo Rebel Trooper, but I can't verify that they're actually the same mold or the same gun. I don't want to say one way or the other. It could just be similar sensibilities because these are Rebel characters. This is one of those really great atmospheric characters that I always love coming out of artisan figure makers. I've always talked about how when you can sort of complete that background of Rebel crewmen and droids and things like that to really make your hangar display look even more complete, this character fits that bill so well, and he's the kind of character where you're tempted to get, 7 or 8 of them at some point. I'm gonna stay happy with the one, but he's that kind of character for people that love dioramas and things like that. I'm really hoping to pair him at some point with the actual people mover. I understand that there's another artisan maker who has done a sort of plastic 3D printed version of that, and I'm on a wait list to purchase one of those. And when I receive that, you'll see this figure in another video again with his vehicle. So I'm looking forward to that, and then putting that on display with my Rebel fighters in my display cases. It's gonna look great. As always, the next 17 figures are very high quality. He's really upped his game. They're starting to really feel and look like Kenner action figures. He's come a long way. He always did great work, but he's really pushing himself. And so the next 17 is now one of my most anticipated artisan makers to see what they come up with next. Finally, we have some artisan toys in the form of playsets. In this case, cardstock playsets in the grand tradition of the Kenner Freeze Chamber. These are from a company called Cardstock Cantina. Now, Cardstock Cantina doesn't just do backdrops. A lot of people have done just printed backdrops so that you can photograph your figures. They're trying to do them in the tradition of the old school vintage cardstock playsets where you get a little bit of dimensionality with, insert slot A and tab B together and then put some tape on it, and then you kind of have an environment. He does a ton of Star Wars related stuff. All these different environments that were never made into playsets from Kenner or Hasbro. What you're seeing here, though, is his complete 3 3/4 inch Indiana Jones offering so far. And you might be asking, Michael, when are you going to get off the Indiana Jones thing? The only reason that I picked these up first from him is because, unlike Star Wars in the marketplace, Indiana Jones toys, particularly the 3 3/4 inch range, are so underserved and underrepresented, even in the artisan space. They don't get a lot of attention. And I really wanted to add to my Indiana Jones world build. These are really great for that, but they'll also showcase for you the quality that Cardstock Cantina puts into all of their offerings. So when you go to their Etsy page, which is linked in the description below, you'll see all of their stuff for Star Wars. It's endless, and good luck deciding which ones you're going to buy, because the world is your oyster if you're a Star Wars collector and you want some dioramas. For me, I picked up his 3 Indiana Jones offerings. They're all from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and they're all massively welcome additions to a long neglected toy line. So the first one that I picked up is rather small, but it's the Peruvian temple from the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark. This one is understandably sort of miniature and claustrophobic because it is basically a cave. However, what I liked about it was he understood that there would really only be 2 figures represented in this, and that would be Indiana Jones and Satipo.
Nobody's come out of there alive. Please.
But I also like the fact that he didn't put so much detail into the artwork, it allowed you to improvise. Specifically, it allows you to finally use those 2008 mini play sets as part of a larger environment. So I was able to take that idol grab play set and that sort of rope swing pit playset and put them at either end of this, and then put the 2008 Indy with the 2011 San Diego Comic-Con Satipo into the whole environment and really bring it to life. And this is going to be a really, really cool addition to my Indiana Jones shelf in the display case. The next one is a showstopper, and that is the Ravenwood Bar from Nepal in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, when I built this, I deviated off instructions because I wanted it to be sort of canted at an angle to give it some dimensionality. Officially, it's supposed to be all in one direction, but I wanted to angle it and really make it feel like a building. And fortunately, you can do that by just setting the angle at the doorway and then taping it in place there underneath. It doesn't affect the playset at all. There's no modification required. You just don't push it all the way to the straight 180. Every element of the scene was built into this. There was a lot of thought put into this playset. It comes with the big fireplace, which allows you to take full advantage of that San Diego Comic-Con tote figure, since he comes with the hot poker.
Let me show you what I am used to.
Then you've got the table that's made from a little piece of cardboard, so Tote can hide behind it, and you can put the headpiece that came with Tote down by the table legs. There's the doorway for Indiana Jones to shoot from when he's defending himself with his Browning high power. I do wish, given the dimensionality of the fireplace, that the doorway had been designed with more of a 3D alcove space in mind so that Indy could hide behind the entryway a little more like he did in the movie. But I'm not complaining. This guy has done a great job with the artwork and everything else, just pointing that out. Indy can also get behind the bar and defend himself if he wants, even though that wasn't technically in the movie, but the bar itself is fully 3-dimensional. And thanks to the 2008 line, even though we've never gotten Nepalese henchmen, you can use some of the other Cairo Cairo denizens like the Monkey Man and some of the assassins, once you put the right guns in their hands, it looks good for photos. Obviously, the glaring omission here is Marion herself, but unfortunately, neither Kenner nor Hasbro ever made Marion from the Ravenwood bar. I'm hoping that one day some really great artisan maker will do either a print kit for it where I can paint up my own, or maybe one day, cross my fingers, I know it's a big ask, maybe somebody will do a fully factory quality Ravenwood bar, 3 3/4 inch, sort of hyper articulated to match the 2008 figures Marion Ravenwood. That would be great. I'm not betting on it. I'm going to try and find a stand-in for now, but that's my dream, is to match all those up so that I can have a whole grouping of 2008 style figures in this diorama, because that's what really goes with it the best. I saved what I feel is the best for last, and that's Cardstock Cantina's Streets of Cairo diorama, which is 2 whole sections that are then connected together. And the dimensionality here, the way that he's done the alleyways and the doorways and given you all of the different areas, the marketplace, the Marhala bar, it's just gorgeous. It looks so good, and it looks so Kenner. This is the one that I've reserved for the Kenner line. The others I prioritized for the 2008 figures because Hasbro actually made a lot of the characters that go in those environments, like Satipo, like Indy with gloves, and then you take his bag off so he looks correct for the Ravenwood bar, and of course like Tote, where he has the hot poker and you can remove his hat. But with the Kenner Indiana Jones line, so much of that line lends itself to the Cairo street fight. If you get the Cairo Marketplace mini playset with the hay cart from Kenner, you can put that into one corner, have Indy fighting the swordsman at the same time in the marketplace, put the baskets over by the bar with Marion, have the Monkey Man spy hiding behind a doorway, and then you have the truck Kenner made doubling as the truck in Cairo right at the end of the alley. The entire diorama comes alive. This really feels like a collector proofs of purchase mail-away playset for 1982. I love this. It's going to become the centerpiece of my entire Indiana Jones toy display. And it's going to go so well with the Well of Souls, the map room, the horse. The entire Kenner display just comes alive with this piece. Cardstock Cantina has done such a good job on this, and I'm thrilled. Will I be getting his Star Wars stuff? I'm not sure. I'm running out of room in those display cases for the vintage Star Wars stuff. But Indiana Jones needed some help. Cardstock Cantina's stuff is fun, it's affordable, and it's available right now on Etsy. I couldn't be happier. The presentation is great, the way it's shipped is great and flat packed, and he even wrapped all the instructions and the cardstock in these themed paper bands. As always, if you're interested in the next 17 or Cardstock Cantina, the links are in the description below. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.